Greetings, Minecrafters, and welcome to another exciting discussion with Little G and I. Another Minecraft discussion. My name is Kimberly Quinn, and I am very, very excited to have a chat with you on this lovely December day. It's drizzling a little bit, and it's just beautiful. As a skier, I definitely prefer the precipitation come in the form of snow, but it's all good. And I'll tell you, we saw some hunters here a couple days ago. Giovanni and I left a very nice note, sort of reminding them the hunting season is over and we're paying attention. As far as I know, it is anyway. So I guess that means that they are poachers, and we haven't seen their pickup truck since. So I'm super happy about that, because the woods is ours again. Yay! No offense to hunting, it's totally cool. It's just that within their season, now it's our turn again. So that's what I'm saying. It's our turn. We can feel safe and just like embrace the woods. Okay, where's I going with that? Okay, today is a day that I would like to really discuss about like sort of the pros and cons of being realistic, really. Because being realistic has a time, just like everything has a time. Being realistic about, oops, I'm coming up short on my mortgage or rent or something like that. I better kick it into gear. Maybe take on another, job, or ask for more hours or something like that, because you don't want to lose your place where you live. That's sort of a good time to be realistic. A time when it's not good to be realistic, and I feel like, who's the shout out today? Will Smith, actually, because he said something super good and insightful about, I'm going to paraphrase because I'm not looking at it, obviously I'm out in the woods, but being realistic is sort of a well-traveled path, or I think it's the most well-traveled path to mediocrity. And isn't that the truth? Because, and I think we talk about manifesting. God, it is so beautiful up here. I'm so glad to have our woods back. Little G, so happy to have the woods back too. He still has a little vest on just in case the poachers come back. But anyway, so that's a time when we kind of don't want to be realistic. And I did another video along the way that's related but not exactly the same, which is being larger than your environment. And this is the whole thing, is that if we just sort of are looking at the same stuff every day, listening to the same people saying the same things and the same messages, not that those people aren't good, they might be saying, but the thing is, we tend to get sort of when we're on autopilot like that, we can really allow ourselves to get stuck. It doesn't mean that some of that isn't good and supportive and all of that, but in order to be extraordinary, being, your best, most authentic self, doing that one thing that only you were meant to do on this earth, it's important to kind of break from reality a little bit. I don't mean in a like in a psychosis, like, in a psychotic way, but in an authentic way. And then you might say, oh, but she's always talking about being mindful and being in the moment. Now she's saying to talk about and picture the future. Yes, because we can mindfully, it sounds like a paradox, or maybe not an oxymoron, but maybe paradoxical, but it actually, if you can put it together, it makes a heck of a lot of sense. So being mindfully, taking the time to consciously live deliberately, right? It's about living deliberately. Mindfulness is about being awake and alert and in the moment. So we can mindfully be present in this moment and feeling and envisioning what our heart's desire is. In order to do that, you got to listen. We've talked about the listening to the whispers part, right? Because if we just sort of coast along and don't stop and reflect and really, tap into your inner guidance system, your compass, nothing is going to change for you. I mean, it just isn't. And so it's like a deliberate thing. It's mindfulness is deliberate, right? So actually, and here the whole thing is to actually feel, see, envision, and feel whatever it is that your heart's desire, as if it has already happened. As if it has already happened, and actually, which we need quiet for. And even if that's Central Park, you wouldn't think Central Park could be quiet, but actually it's so huge, you can definitely find a place. In fact, my daughter and I were sitting on this huge rock there, totally enjoying ourselves, although we did see a rat go by, but you'll have that in New York, I mean, I love the city and everything, but you're gonna have, that's where they live. Rats like it there, Anyway, or find, if you live in an urban area, find a quiet place in your apartment or townhouse or house or whatever. But that's the thing, is living deliberately is a lifestyle. It takes awareness and commitment and the opposite of living deliberately is living passively. And then it's sort of, you get what you get because you're on autopilot. You know, it's like just going through life in the back seat is what that is about. And we want to go through life, hopefully, not just being in the front seat, but sliding your, you know, fanny over into the driver's seat and being at the wheel. That is the whole thing. And so, you know, and I did, you know, I'm active on the gram now, which is very fun. It's a Champlain page. But I was saying something in there about, I forget what I said about it anyway, but sliding over into the driver's seat because that is the whole thing. That is the whole thing, is being the author of our script, you know, the captain of our ship and all that stuff. So this is sort of like the one benefit, or maybe the one time to really break away from reality, is to realize that we've got way more potential than we're often aware of. I know where I was going with that. I used a picture of an astronaut, or I can also think of the Wright brothers. I'm thinking of flight and the moon and things like that and also Amelia Earhart's more flight. Because imagine, I'm just going to think of the Wright brothers right now because they actually came up with the airplane. Imagine if they were, you know, sort of, I feel like a quicksand, like stuck in reality like quicksand. None of us would be traveling very far. You know, you'd be going on a boat, on train, walking, but we wouldn't be on a plane, because who would think something that heavy could fly? Same thing with boats. Think of, you know, these big, you know, cruise ships, but that, you know, according to the laws of physics, you know, by all, like, you know, the weight, how much they weigh, and the metal that, you know, the steel that's used to build them, they technically shouldn't float. But they do, and they can carry lots and lots of people around to fabulous places. And so imagine if the people who invented these various things were Thomas Edison with the light bulb. Like, you know, if they thought, oh, gee, we can't have electric lights in the house. People, you know, back in the day, they went to sleep with the chickens, basically. You know, it got dark, at least in northern Vermont, at about like 3:30. Day's over, except for candles. And the Wright brothers, and just go on and on and on. So in our own lives, relative to our regular selves, we all have the ability and the potential to be extraordinary. It isn't going to happen if you're sort of locked into what your environment is and who's saying what to you. Even if they're saying positive things, it supports you. You know, you might have a mix of positive things, but you couldn't possibly fly to the moon. Like, who? I mean, imagine what people said to them. And the Wright brothers must have had a lot of things said to them. Like, you know, it's like a death wish. What are you doing? You know, and then like before long, obviously they took off. So in our own version of that, we've got to break through that. I want to say like break through the sound barrier, but it's not exactly what I mean. But you get the picture, right? Got to bust right through that to really tap into your inner source, because we are all an extension of source energy. Call it God, I do. Call it the universe if you'd rather, or call it your higher power or whatever. But to realize that we are all connected to a higher power source, universe, whatever, that is literally capable of creating worlds. And when you think of it like that, but you know, we have all the ability to bust through our limitations that are physical out here, and to tap into what, you know, our highest, best self, our highest vibe self, and to live our best life. So that's it. There is a time to break free from reality that is not sort of related to something not enjoyable like psychosis. Okay? Awesome. So break through, listen to your inner voice, and fulfill your best self, live your best life. This is Kimberly Quinn signing off from the beautiful Notch in northern Vermont. Have a mindful day.